Okay. All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to KJ's Genesis monthly parent support group. This morning, we're really excited about our topic of discussion. We'll be talking about parenting from the perspective of fathers. You know that Sunday is Father's Day, and so we have my husband, Jamar Yancey, here of KJ's Genesis Incorporated, and we also have the pleasure of having Jamil Owens with us, who has a nonprofit called Awesomeness. Am I saying it correctly? Awesomeness. And he's from CHOP. And so he is one of the leading professionals regionally and is a budding professional even nationally. He has a lot to say concerning the neurodivergent community as it relates to autism. And from a professional perspective, he does a lot of collaborative work with CHOP as well as University of Pennsylvania. So is University of Pennsylvania, am I saying correctly?
Yeah,
Okay, awesome
yeah,
sauce.
yeah.
And yes, and so we're so glad to have him. Were you going to say something? You can say something. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say like yeah, a leading professional. I mean, you speaking it into existence, but I appreciate it. You know, I'm trying. That's it.
Yes. Yes. And so just briefly, KJ's Genesis is designed to provide support in the areas of advocacy, parent support groups like the one we're having this morning, special events, and education. And so we recognize the importance of all of these aspects in order to support families like our own. We have a special guy who is on the spectrum, and he's actually 16 going on 17 this year. And so just a lot of change at this time in his development, but we cater to families from actually the time of prognosis or diagnosis, so that's from age 2 or 3, and all the way up into adulthood. And so we want you to feel comfortable sharing, asking questions, etc. And we want to make sure that this time is a time that you can really glean some important nuggets that you can apply to your parenting on a day-to-day basis. And so wanted to focus on fathers today. Autism, it can be all encompassing when you're managing the care of one child or children, or maybe you're the caregiver of maybe a brother or sibling or parent who is on the spectrum. And so we believe that it's very important to be informed and aware of how to specifically address the concerns of your loved one. And we believe it's important to connect with community that can support you, that can relate, and also offer resources. And so that's what this space is about, but wanted to deal with it from the perspective of fathering. And what better way to do so than to have my husband, he's a bonus dad, which we count to be an honor because during my time of singleness, I met my husband when KJ was about maybe it was 6 going on 7. Yeah, and at the time KJ thought he was the man of the house. And so when my husband came in, he felt a little threatened because he saw my attention and my focus shifting. And as we know, despite the fact that KJ is not neurotypical, he was very well bonded to me. And he had a problem with this new guy coming in, taking his mom's attention away from him. He was not happy about that. But Jamar came in and won not only my heart, but he actually won KJ's heart as well. And so he's been in KJ's life 10 plus years, and has been here to see how we did things. He has shifted the trajectory of KJ's life. In essence, we believe that the significance of a father, just in and of itself, is very significant. We believe that the father really speaks into the identity of our children. And so the presence of the father in the, and so we just value Jamar's presence, and once again we value Jamil's input as well. We want him to be able to share his story, but honey, I just wanted to give you opportunity to speak to your experience as a father, and particularly as it relates to your journey engaging with KJ throughout his development.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jamar Yancey. Um, I do have biological children. So I was fathering children before I met my wife. I met my wife in 2015. So when I came into the picture, well, KJ 16 going on 17 now, he was 6 going on 7 at the time.
Mhm.
And when I met her, I was taken by her, and I wanted to be with her, and I wanted to be involved in everything concerning her. But I did not know the extent of raising a child who has special needs. Now, like I said, I do have experience in raising a child, so I thought there's some things that I thought about my parenting that um, I found out later I wasn't as good at parenting that I thought I was. And so when I came into the picture, um, she didn't allow me to meet KJ at first. Um, so I would talk to her on the phone and I heard KJ in the background. So he has like certain noises that he makes, there's certain sounds that's specific to him that you won't hear anywhere else. So when I heard those sounds and she was telling me how medically complicated he was, I was concerned. And then when I met him in person, um, yeah, he's just a young 6, 7 year old kid with, all 6 or 7 year olds have a lot of energy. Um, just running around, he was happy. Um, he had a lot of energy. He liked to have fun. He liked to play fight, play rough and stuff like that. So I think we hit it off right away when we first met. Um, and I think mom was a little surprised at how well we clicked at first. Um, so yeah, it was. I think it was a really good start when I did meet KJ. Um, we I put him on my back. I spin him around. He didn't say a lot of words, but he communicated enough to where he would let you know if he wanted you to spin him or if you want to jump. So yeah, I think the relationship really started out pretty well when I met him. Um, and yeah, and it's been a journey. The past 10 years has been a journey, a lot of ups and downs. So I'm grateful that we're here now with KJ's Genesis, and hopefully our story will encourage somebody else and be able to help somebody else along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to give some background, one special component relating to KJ is that he was very medically complicated. So when KJ was born, he was in the NICU for about a month. KJ had an ASD, so he had a hole in his heart, which was corrected in 2018. So it was corrected, much later. He was about 11 or 12 at that time. He also has a right hand arm anomaly, so his ulna bone is shorter in the right arm. So it's a helper arm. Like he's still able to get on the monkey bars. He walks, he does all of those things, but he has required occupational therapy. Some of the fine motor skills, like buttoning his shirt or tying his shoes, is a little challenging for him. Also, he has right lung hypoplasia. So his right lung is smaller than his left. And so he was diagnosed with asthma, and he also came home on oxygen. And then he also had a level of paresis or paralysis to his hemidiaphragm. And so when sharing all of these medical components with Jamar initially, he's like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know if I'll be able to manage his care. He sounds really challenging. And so I had to let him know, well, once you see him, it may be totally different. And so when he came and saw KJ bouncing off the walls, he's like, oh, this is the boy you were telling me about. He's fine. And so he takes KJ and puts him on his back. And I'm like, wait a minute. And he looks at me, gives me the side look like, go ahead. I'm like, what? Oh, sorry. Let me not disturb your flow. And so, like he said, they did hit it off immediately. I was very protective of KJ. And so, particularly as it pertained to dating, it took some time, like he said, before I allowed him to engage with KJ. But yeah, he's the first man, aside from his workers and nurses, that I allowed to care for him. And because of his love for KJ, I want to say maybe after a month of dating, we had to rush him to the hospital. He had some issues with asthma. He immediately says, okay, I'm going to meet you at the hospital. And at the hospital, he's like yelling at the nurses, be careful with him. And I'm looking like, okay, babe, calm down. He only knew him for about a month. And he immediately became overprotective. We're in the hospital all night. They're giving him treatments. I'm falling asleep. He's like, babe, it's cool. Go ahead, go to sleep. I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. I'm like, okay. So the next morning, he left, went to work. He said, call me, let me know if there's anything you need. And so I think his ability to befriend me and genuinely be concerned about KJ's needs really kind of won my heart. And then the other component was Jamar used to struggle with asthma as a child as well. And so sometimes our experiences, whether neurotypical or neurodivergent, you're able to connect based upon your experiences, whether there be trauma or in his case, having overcome some medical challenges as well. And so just friendship was what we were able to forge, and his ability to connect from a very intrinsic way kind of happened with KJ. And so I think KJ was like, I'll kind of put up with you because I like you, even though I don't like the fact that my mom's getting all this attention from you. And so, yeah, we had to kind of navigate those specializations where other parents you might deal with maybe sensitivities to food, maybe your child doesn't eat certain things, or there might be sensitivities to sound, where your child may respond to maybe loud sound, they sound exacerbated. So for us, it sounds loud, but for them, it feels like they cannot tolerate, like they actually need earphones, right? And so we recognize that within the realm of autism, we have to be sensitive to what their sensory needs are. And those are things that the helping professionals, whether they be teachers, behavioral specialists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, etc., all of the people within your child's helping support group will have to be mindful of these things. And these are things that we can teach our family members, our friends, our loved ones. If you have a loved one who's an aunt, a sister, a cousin who says, listen, I want to help you out with your son, with your daughter. These areas are important for them to be aware of so they can know how to cater to their needs. And that was something that Jamar was open to, which made him a great candidate as it pertained to even me considering him as a partner. And so I just want to really breathe a level of hope to those. You might be a single dad or a single mom who says, can I have someone who will actually come in who can cater to my child, that I don't have to worry and look back? And so as I observed Jamar's interaction with KJ, it really alleviated a lot of my angst and even some anxiety I have to admit that I had, because there were so many sensitivities that KJ had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And with the sensitivities, I think the biggest challenge for me was learning how to become a part of this team. As a mom of a child who has autism, my wife, she does an exceptional job. She advocates for him like nobody can. Um, she is on top of every medical appointment, all of um, his medications and things like that. So even throughout the night, I mean, he has a G tube, so he had to have feeds throughout the night. So there was a machine that actually pumped the feed into his G tube and his G tube button at night. So at times, she was working at the time. She's a single mom. She has KJ, and she also has our daughter Genesis. That's what KJ's Genesis. So she's a single mom with 2 children. She's working, and I was dating her, and I was trying to get to know her. So we'll be up trying to find time to talk, and she'll be up, we'll be talking, and she'll be falling asleep at night because she's talking to me. She's in front of a laptop, so she's doing all of these things, trying to manage her care throughout the day. And I was just saying, I have to find a ways that I can help. I could become a part of this team, the support system. So I had to learn how to operate the machine that feeds the feed. I had to learn how to administer the different medications and things like that. I'm not in the medical field. I'm in the automotive field. I don't do well with like blood and things concerning bodily fluids and medical stuff. So, but that's a challenge that I had to take on because it's very important. I think it's very important for um, the fathers to be a support because the moms do majority of the work, and I think the more I can help, the better. Well, the better my chances were to get with and to marry her. But just to be able to help alleviate some of the pressure because there's a lot of responsibility that comes. There's already a lot of responsibility that comes with raising neurotypical children. So a neurotypical, what do you call neurodivergent child. Um, that's that times 10, so I had to learn how to administer medications, feeds, and learn what he likes to eat, what he can't eat, because he also has was
G6PD.
G6PD. So there's certain things that he can't. I think just in the process of getting to know KJ, we did hit it off, but we had our challenges. He was very, at times, he was very aggressive. Um, Even though we play, his moods would change quickly. So we'd be having fun, we're horse playing around, and then his mood will shift, and then he'll get aggressive and he'll start to scratch. When he was younger, he would scratch a lot. So he would start scratching my arms. So I had scabs on my hands. So I had to learn how to engage with him and not get him overstimulated. I believe that I didn't know how to engage and sort of temper it because he can get happy, he'll get overstimulated, and then he becomes aggressive. So I had to find that balance so that we could we can enjoy each other. I can build a relationship with him as well because not only am I trying to build a relationship with mom, I'm trying to build a relationship with Genesis. I'm trying to build a relationship with him. And like she said, here's this guy coming into my territory. He used to be the man, and now it's like he has to share his mom. So I had to learn how to come in and not rock the boat too much. Learn quickly because this is something that has to be it's like you have to learn on the fly. You know what I mean? It's like you just got to pick up the ball and just keep running. So I think one of the biggest challenges that I face in coming in and taking on this role has been just to learn. I think the learning curve is major. So just learning, and it's not that I've learned it all because here we are 10 years later, and I'm still learning. But I think that's one of the biggest challenges is just to learn how his mind works and how I fit into his world, into his framework.
And so I did want to give Jamil an opportunity to kind of share his story from the perspective of fathers. But I wanted to speak to just the power of influence. I think because Jamar was willing to connect with KJ, it strengthened his voice and his relevance as it related to KJ. And so KJ is very driven by relationship. Even when he starts a new program at school, I let them know KJ is looking for his person. He's looking for the person who's going to be able to assist and understand him when he needs to use the restroom, when he needs to, eat, whatever his needs are. He wants to know who genuinely cares about him, right? There's that saying, I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. KJ is very much like that. He's very intuitive and sensitive. So oftentimes, if a new person was on his team, say for example at the school, if he didn't connect with them oftentimes at first, they were not a good match. And I would tell them, this person is not going to work. And then after a couple of days, they would say, yes, Miss Yancey, we had to take that person off of his case. But oftentimes he's a very good judgment of character. Those people who will go above and beyond, those people who were skillful, assertive, provided structure, but they were engaging. Those are the people who really worked with KJ. And so some of those components were significant in what Jamar provided. And so he was able to connect on those days when I had to leave and KJ had to be with Jamar. He's like, okay, it's you and me, buddy. So he knew that he had to be able to connect and make that relationship connection, not only from Jamar's perspective, but from KJ's level of comfort, right? And so I pay a lot of attention to KJ's nonverbals. You know, like when I would drop KJ off at school, if he's clinging to me, if he's not comfortable, something's wrong. But if I go to that school and he's like, bye, mom, I'm like, okay, he's good. I'm connecting with that worker. I'm getting their information. I'm encouraging them to mirror their connection and their relationship bond to the rest of the team, because those things are key, right? And so when we talk about fatherhood, the power of influence and the power of presence is so important, because while KJ loves me, KJ wants to give me kisses, but he wants to horseplay with Jamar. He wants to have fun with Jamar. He's looking for that structure from Jamar. I can say something all day, but Jamar can come with a certain presence and he'll respond immediately. And so I don't fight it. I'm like, great, honey, you got it. I tap out. I give him a high five. You go ahead. You guys do your thing. And so the presence of a father. Jamil, please share some of your testimony, and just some of the nuggets that you've gleaned over the years in having a special son.
Well, I appreciate it. I just want to say there's a couple of things first. Unfortunately, I just got an email from my job. So after I finish speaking, I actually have to leave this this conversation, which I do apologize because there's a lot to talk about. The second thing is what I'm going to say is just from my perspective as a parent, not the professional or the organization in which I work for or represent, which is CHOP. So I just want to make that disclaimer clear because, people may agree, may not disagree. With that being said, first, I want to, give you your flowers, Jay, because you really embodied the position where a lot of us men, both naturalized fathers or, bonus dads or stepfathers, couldn't even get into because of the fears, because of the complexity, because of the sacrifice. So you really embody where we need to be at as far as men providers, as far as co-parents, and husbands. So I definitely want to give you your flowers, and that is very, very important. um oh, there's so much we could talk about, but the communication structure between parents, co-parents, whether they're together or not, is very, very important in a neurotypical household, but also a neurodiverse household, even that much more greater, right? The importance of working together as a team to not only understand each other, but understand a child and what the life of that child is going to look at after you are here is the groundwork that has to be established as soon as you get into this relationship, as soon as you get into this marriage. That's formated like clay in love, right? So as long as you deeply love each other, and what I mean by deeply, that means a sacrifice, whether it be in communication, whether it be in physical touch or any other thing, whether it be in tangible gifts or things, you have to be willing to serve your other as if they are your brothers and sisters. So, it may sound spiritual, and it is, because when you look at the aspect of serving others, whether it be inside your household or your community, you're actually loving on someone. That's why the euphoria effect comes into your brain after you've done something good. I, as a father, was misplaced from my son's life due to my fault because of lack of recognition of what a man in this position is supposed to look like. And that is a terrible thing. And too often we are seeing that now, not just on the fathers, but sometimes the mothers as well. This is not what I bargained for. This is not what I want. Well, the thing about this is that one, children are a blessing regardless of how they present physically in this world. They are a blessing to you, and you are not there to kind of mitigate what that gift looks like. You are there to serve them as a guide in this world to better prepare them for what life looks like outside of this household. That is your sole purpose as a parent. For the autism parent, the fathers, it's hard because we look at a society that tells us to shut up and be strong. And that's not true strength. The true strength is to understand that you are a failure in everything that you do. You are a failure. You have to keep that in mind, is that you're not that important. So something my wife tells me all the time, you're not that important. And why it's like, dang, that's a hurt piece to me. It's true. You're not that important not to give back, not to be with your family, not
Yeah.
to sit there and elevate other people to a position that's past you. You are not that important. When you understand that as a man, you now become a better husband. You now become a better brother, a better son, a better provider, a better community leader, and overall a better engager with anybody that you come in contact with that has questions, doubts, or prejudice when it comes down to individuals like your loved one, like your son. So that, if you hear anything before I hop off, hear that. You have to establish an effective communication. As men, we have to do that. And that let go of two things, ego and pride. Once you let go of those, fear cannot overcome your heart because you are ready to take on any challenge. You look at it, you're not fixing it, but you look at it, you look at alternative ways, you communicate with your spouse, and you go with the plan. That's the way that this is only going to work when it comes down to neurodiverse families. And this formula works for neurotypical families as well too. Now, the way we use it is going to be different in every situation, but it is the same formula. So that is something I hope resonates with somebody, both male and female. I can tell you all day about my story, but that what I just gave you is something that I learned. And I think the best part of leaving that gym here is because that's a culmination of years of hurt and pain that I went through, that I had to figure out with myself. And I just gave you a piece that you don't have to go down the same road. You can decipher that and disseminate that as much as possible and look forward to positive engagements and positive affirmations that's going to come from that, the fruit, when you apply that to your life and your certain circumstance.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
It's no
We
problem.
appreciate you.
It's no problem. I apologize. Let's do a part two.
Yes.
I gotta hop off because something just came down. But I just got an email. But bless you guys. Keep on with the conversations because it's not about being a national organization. It's not about having a big network or a big following. It's about consistency. Consistency equals quality. Quality is over a quantity because you can have a bunch of people follow you, but your quality is trash. So where you guys do this, and you may say, "Oh, well, people are not listening." The right kind of people are listening, and those are the people that are going to affect the other right kind of people, and then everybody is going to listen. So continue to do what you guys do.
Thank you so much. We're going to have you back, Jamil. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
No problem. Definitely will. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Yeah, so we really believe that Jamil raised an excellent point, and that's the point of sacrifice. We realize that parenting a child on the spectrum just requires more.
A lot more.
And
I'm sorry.
no, continue. Yeah.
No, I'm saying that because like I said earlier, I do have experience with raising children. I had to raise my daughters um for the most part by myself, so I was a single dad and I was raising girls and that required a lot. So that's why I thought that I had a lot of experience. I knew a lot about raising children, but when you're trying to raise a child who has special needs, it requires more. And that's something that I didn't know. I'm grateful that the relationship that me and my wife established was one that was affirmed, that has a firm foundation. So when the relationship is tested, because it will be tested, when the relationship was tested, we were able to stand the test of the relationship because we were together. You know, we would plan together. We would we would strategize. You know what I mean? We would talk about what we were going to do and who was going to do what and when. That was very important. The communication was key, so that we're not allowing KJ's needs to come between us or to separate us or to become so much of a focus that we're so focused on him that we can't focus on each other, or we're so focused on him and we can't focus on the other children that we have, because when we came together we also had a child together. So we have Israel, you know, she knows Israel. So at the same time where he has, you know, all of his needs, our family around him has needs as well. So we have to learn that balance to where we can't focus so much on him that everybody else is neglected. So the teamwork is so key. And that's something that we've been building. That's something that we continue to focus on. We continue to have conversations. I know for men, it's not as easy because men are not as likely to have conversations. We don't communicate as much as often as women do. So that's something that I'm working on. And hopefully I had the pleasure of meeting your husband. He seemed like a great guy. He seemed like he's a communicator. So hopefully you guys work together as well. Yeah, so that's something that um, is a very key point. I'm glad that he brought that up and left that nugget with us, because um, I didn't. I was looking up. Um, I was looking up stats on families who have children on the spectrum, and what I didn't know is that the divorce rate was so high of families because of this challenge. It's a major undertaking, and it actually causes people to separate as opposed to come together. So that's why I'm glad we have the opportunity to have something like this, and this is being recorded. So hopefully, whatever men couldn't make it on, they can actually get a chance to see it. They can see the recording and just hear some of this, because I believe that this is something that men need to hear. I believe that men need to be encouraged, they need to be empowered, and they need to just join in a closer knit relationship, a tighter relationship with their spouse, and as opposed to allowing these difficult issues to separate the family, and in essence bring the family together.
Yeah, and I think you raised so many good points as it pertains to sacrifice and intentionality. Ultimately, because we are a blended family, Jamar's role became an authority figure in KJ's life, and oftentimes, as parents, we can be protective of our children, even biological parents. Sometimes the mom sees things a certain way, sometimes the dad sees things another way, and so there's this push and pull. And so I think there has to be a validation and an affirmation of the attempts that are made, the attempts to learn, the attempts to grow, and recognize that there always going to be times of adjustment throughout that child's development. KJ's needs have changed over the years. And so when he was younger, his needs were, kind of tailored to being a child of, elementary age, etc. And so as he began to get older, when now his voice is getting deeper, he has more testosterone. Sometimes my husband putting his foot down and being that authority figure, I had to allow that to be. And so that would be an encouragement that I would encourage the women, that particularly if it's neurotypical or neurodivergent, the authority of that male has to be validated and shared, and not, okay, well, this is not your son, you're not gonna, XYZ to my son. So there had to be that partnership that I appreciate when he sets structure, when he sets boundaries, and I affirm it, as opposed to my husband setting a boundary and I override that. And so now the child is able to see the division, and now it creates even more chaos. I think one thing that helps is that we try to stay on the same page. If we differ, we have those conversations separately, and then we come to a conclusion. Okay, we'll try your way, honey, this time. We'll try my way next time. We oftentimes get input. We've had coaches over the years. We've had counselors, and so it becomes a community effort because we affect our community. We affect our church when we go. KJ's behaviors don't just affect us, they affect the community. And so we've had to have several conversations with our support group, with our tribe, in order so that it can work for us. And it's constantly changing. So at one point, it can be like, okay, everything is fine. And then we have an incident, and now we have to come back to the drawing board and say, what are we doing now? But ultimately, through prayer, through faith, and through constant checking in one with another and making sure that KJ is okay. It's a process. And I think the point about making sure that our other children's needs are met is just as important, because the siblings, they can feel overlooked because the needs of the special child are so vast. And so
I understand. Yeah, I understand about that. I mean, you guys are doing really good when it comes. I mean, from what I can see, I mean, you might not know how good you're doing. I mean, you're really like, um, I mean, Jamar, like that was really like the way that you've stuck by her has just like that amazes me, to hear about that, like how you went through all that stuff. Like, so I mean, like, I mean, I'm still aspiring when it comes to my relationship, because I like, as far as I have, experienced that, like living everyday life together is such a huge aspect, like when it comes to like a challenge like autism, and my son has like, he's not even talking, so he's got like the intellectual issue, and he's already 4 years old, he's not talking at all, like at all. So it's like it's like a huge strain, a huge like, you know difficulty for our relationship. Like it's like not a small thing, it's and so that's why, like, we're trying to work through our things, but it's something I really like admire you guys that you got through that stuff, because like you said, like the divorce rate is high, and there's a reason for that. But it's like every day I feel like if you're not careful, the everyday life things will just like suck your relationship to the ground, like the everyday troubles, like you have to make time for each other, and make sure to take care of each other and take care of your own needs, like not just like, because it's like so overwhelming. It's like for me, like it's the things going on with my son are so overwhelming, that I sometimes I can't think about my own needs, I can't think about like doing fun things.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and that's absolutely correct. I mean, I definitely can hear you. Sometimes it can just feel overwhelming, the needs of your child. And so when that happens, it's difficult to focus on yourself, and it's difficult to focus on your spouse. I think one of the things that has helped us, and particularly me, is just learning the language of surrender. And that's something that we'll talk about, more one-on-one as well. But there's a scripture that says, and that sounds so simple. It's like, yeah, no, it's fine, But when you really deal with the weight of it, it is a and identifying the areas that we can't. What is the life trajectory of my child when these basic needs that they have are not intact? What will their communication life be? What would life be when I'm not here anymore? Like, we have these concerns, and they're legitimate. And so while meeting the needs of your child, it is important to take care of yourself and also your spouse, and learning how to take care of one another. So there are times when my husband is like, okay, honey, I need to do XYZ. And I'm like, no, go to sleep, go to sleep, go rest, go do something, and he'll do the same for me. No, go get your hair done, go hang out with your friends, have some time. And oftentimes when we come back, we're more refreshed. I have a better attitude. I'm singing more. I'm like, come on, KJ. And I'm more engaging. So instead of feeling resentful that I'm so overwhelmed with his needs, I can come back and say, hey, let's go outside and go for a walk. Let's go play. Let's go to the YMCA. Let's go swimming. And so again, it's a constant process, right? Because even when we go into the community, what if he tantrums? What if he has a behavior? And so it's a constant process of adjustment and readjustment. And so we definitely hear you. I think from the outside looking in, like, we appreciate your accolades and your positive reinforcement, because I do believe that Jamar is amazing. But we've had our moments. I don't think that I'm the easiest person to get along with, but Jamar gives me a lot of grace. And yeah, I think it's just a constant process. Yes, honey.
Yeah. I mean, the sacrifice again, that's what it's really all about. In order to deal with a child who has those type of needs, it's a major sacrifice. I have to sacrifice as a dad. Um, I want to protect, I want to provide, I want to bring structure, I want to correct. And there's times where I can't correct like I want to because of the needs that KJ has. So I still have to find a way to bring correction, but I have to do it in a way that's productive and not counterproductive. Mm-hmm. So it's a sacrifice for me um, to humble myself, just like Jamil was talking about, mm-hmm. humility, and that's a big issue that men have. Is we have to humble ourselves sometimes and take another approach and say, okay, well, I still have to bring correction. I still have to be the man, but I have to do it another way. It's still selfless. If I see my wife, she does so much. When I see her when she's overwhelmed, yeah, there's times when I'm tired. There's times I don't feel like dealing with some of KJ's behaviors. But if I see that she's overwhelmed and I see that she needs a rest, we it's like we tag team. It's like we tap each other in and tap each other out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if I see that she's overwhelmed, I have to make that sacrifice and say, hey, listen, don't worry about him. I'll take care of him, or I'll take care of that need, or whatever it is. You go ahead and you get rest. You go ahead and you take a breather, take a break, go for a drive, go get some ice cream or water ice or whatever. Mm-hmm. And just that little bit of time alone, it brings so much healing, and it brings health to the relationship. And she does the same for me. So I know everybody's relationship dynamic is different, but if you can get to a place where you guys are sacrificing for one another, as well as sacrificing for your child who has special needs, mm-hmm. that's going to help tremendously.
Yeah,
that really makes sense. Like, I feel like, it's good that you guys are trying to reach out to people, because like people need to see that they need to actually believe that it can work, like, so you're very encouraging to me. I mean, like, to see that it can actually work with a kid with these kinds of issues, because like it, like, I feel like you like it could be a very different dynamic if you are like, instead of helping each other, like, instead of caring for each other and trying to like, it's like you gotta like hold it together, you gotta like, it's like you're fighting a battle that you have to like constantly be helping each other. Like, but if you are against each other, like, everything just kind of falls apart, but I feel like we get to that conflict point so much, because there's just like, it's like very with the autism, it's like there's so many decisions and there's so many things we don't know, like, that we can disagree about, like just even like feeding him, like how should we feed him because he doesn't want to eat his food. He just is so bad with eating. Like he's so picky. We have to like go get him Chick-fil-A like every other day because he only wants to eat Chick-fil-A nuggets and like stuff that
The
is
texture. It's probably
yeah,
the texture.
and like, you know, and with school, like trying to figure out like, okay, when is he gonna go to school? Like, how are we gonna get him ready for school? Because, you know, he can't talk. So that makes us nervous. Like it makes it like we're always nervous. We're always worried about him. Like if he can't talk, like how can he tell us if there's a problem? You know, it's
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Yeah, there's actually a local program that I want to refer you to because I believe that they deal with assessments, particularly with I think it's either ages 4 or 5. I think it's right around the age of your son, to be able to provide those assessments and preparation for pre-K. So I'm definitely going to give that to you. They've actually only been here for a few months, so I think that that may be helpful to you. And we definitely will be speaking directly because I know we talked about that before today's Zoom. And so we're just so grateful that you reached out, and we certainly can relate. It's an ongoing process. I want to encourage you to breathe. Because I can see the weight on you. You got to breathe in and let it out.
well, and I got asthma issues too because of the air quality today.
Oh, I
So
see. Okay. So that is a factor. Okay. But yes, thank you so much. We will certainly be meeting again next month on the second Thursday of July. You and I will meet. I will certainly forward that referral, and we'll talk. And hopefully we can connect in the community, with the summer, ensuing. Hopefully we can connect, and be able to have some fun times. I would love that. And just encouraging you. There are times, there have been sleepless nights. Sometimes it can feel hopeless, but there is hope. There is hope. And we believe that you can have a very fulfilling, joyous life. You and your son and your beautiful daughter and their father. I think that there are just great opportunities of fulfillment in your family life. And sometimes the overwhelming needs can try to, like you said, suck those out and eliminate those. But we speak that you will have fulfillment and joy, and we pray for that, and we desire that for the families that we connect with. So
well, I mean from my life experience, you know, and you know, certain like going to church and stuff like that, I can like testify that relationship, you know, like the parental relationship is a hugely important factor, you know, when it
yes.
comes to everything else in a family's life, you know. So that's something it's like you got to work on. It's like people are focusing on all the other things, like because it's like
Yes.
everything seems so important and you have like so many things on your things to do list. But
Hmm.
like if you have to really like spiritually focus on your unity and your relationship, you know,
Yes.
in order
Yes.
and once you get that right, it's like whatever comes at you, you're gonna be able to handle it. So that's cool, you know, and I certainly will pray for you guys because it's gotta be hard, you know, with that stuff.
Aw. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. We actually have a meeting to jump into after this, but we definitely will stay connected. We appreciate your prayers, and yeah, we look forward to future connections. Okay, and so with that, we're going to wrap up this parent support group. We have one coming up next month on the second Thursday of July. I think that's around the 11th to the 12th, but we'll be advertising about that, and then we're also going to be start hosting some peer support groups. So it's going to be co-ed groups for the older age, between ages 16 to 30. And so we want to start those here in Elkton, and try to transition into Delaware. And so we'll be advertising and sharing information about that as well. So we say God bless and enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you so much, Joy, for hanging out with us.
Yeah. Tell your husband I said Happy Father's Day.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye bye.